Welcome. Si, senor.
Si, senor.
Yes, sir. Well, welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. And today's 414.
This is all staying in, by the way.
It's just 2 times 2 or 4.
Every bit of it's staying in.
414, 2025. And today's Monday.
What's funny is that I'm actually rewatching some of the Star Trek films from the 80s.
Yeah.
So hearing you give the star date's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I really like that a lot.
Well, as I said, it's a Monday. It's a beautiful day. We're entering summer.
It is actually a very nice day.
Entering summer, you got to be somewhere in Australia.
Yeah.
Or probably, I don't know, South Africa. I know South Africa. I think summer is the winter probably.
Yeah.
I think Australia might be the same too, because they kind of on the world's map kind of the same.
Well, because it's predicated on the Earth tilting on its axis as well. So yes, that checks out.
But if you're in Africa, it's still kind of summer. It's just rainy, depending on where you are. If you're in the west, it's still rainy.
Yeah, when is because I know West Africa especially has a big rainy season.
Yeah,
I don't know so much about East and South.
So west might be from like January to whole summer. It's still sunny because it's harvesting season.
But a lot of rain.
You start harvesting in May.
Yeah.
But still a lot of rain.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm telling you. Yeah, so that was the weather for you guys. Hey,
yeah,
let's start
thanks for the forecast.
Forecast. Mo Salah's contract renewal. We were talking. Everybody was talking left and right. People are like, "Is he gonna renew? Liverpool is gonna be stupid to not renew this contract." But guess what? He knew all along. They knew all along. They just were calm about it.
I don't know if they knew. He knew. I agree that he knew.
I feel like he knew.
I feel like they were sweating on purpose. Like,
think about it. It's like, okay, you guys don't want to renew my contract. I do a month without scoring.
Yeah.
As soon as you renew my contract, hey,
this rip everything out. Yeah.
That's called leverage. But
sure.
I felt like he kind of, in a way, sort of kind of knew that who you replace Mo Salah immediately right now in the scene. Because, I feel like there's a lot of players too, but there's a shortage of that caliber of player.
Yes.
Because to replace that caliber of player, it's got to be a kid that or someone that's like already playing somewhere at that kind of level, or you can foresee the future that's gonna be the guy, or B, someone that you bring in and Mo Salah kind of like get into, like, it's sort of like a mentor where you bring in, you substitute, you rotate until the point where he gets there. When Salah is out of the gate, then he becomes the guy. So,
to attempt to get somebody at his level, it quickly becomes theoretical.
Yes.
There's nobody really on a super short list that is a guaranteed he is going to replace Salah within the season. Within the season, he might not be breaking or competing for those same individual records, but he'll be somewhere up there. Yeah. That list, I mean, and especially with somebody like, say, Rodrigo, not hitting the same form that he was earlier in the season.
Plus, you got to think, Liverpool is probably going to be shopping for a lot of people. So do you want to shop for a striker, a left back or right back, and a right wing? And that's a lot of money.
They need a left back too, though, because Robertson's not cutting it anymore.
Left back. So at some point you look at it financially. Who do I need more, or who can I keep from the Virgil van Dijk just also had a contract
immediately
extension.
afterwards.
Yes.
So you know for a fact they were sitting down, like
they were they
were sitting at the pier, like looking out, like with the microphones being.
That's
like,
true, because it kind of looks silly that you won't renew all the contract and let all these players go at once. You might fall into the Chelsea trap where you offload pretty much half of the team that won the Champions League, and how are you going to immediately rebuild? That doesn't even make sense.
And it helped because, the center forward thing's been an issue for a couple of seasons, but you know what they did that was very smart? They very quietly ended up replacing that entire midfield. Like for a while we were like, they aren't hitting that exact stride, but now McAllister, Szoboszlai,
they got a midfield now.
Gravenberch, like that can hold for a very long time, so that now, they do have to replace Trent. That's clear. Yeah. If you're going to maintain Van Dijk, he needs somebody on his left because he doesn't have the pace anymore. Yeah. And he's been having to cover a lot for Robertson as well. And I don't think Robertson's completely done with the club, but you've noticed that the physicality is not quite there. So now your two fullbacks and your center forward, that's achievable to do in the summer.
Yeah, I
That's
think
not
so.
a bad thing.
It's a striker that's gone because I feel like a lot of teams will be in the market for a striker this summer.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot of shopping this summer. I
There's
really
gonna
do.
be a lot of shopping from City in the Premier League. A lot of movement.
Yeah, for sure.
In Madrid, in Spain, I don't think unless it's like the other clubs like Sevilla or these people, Atletico Madrid. I feel like they got a good team. They just got a. It's more like seniority, maturity type deal. Like it's experience. I don't think they will shop for someone.
If Barcelona is smart, they will start preparing for someone for Lewandowski. Even though he's still playing very well, you have to understand that that's borrowed time at that point.
For Madrid, I think they will shop heavily for defense. I don't think about an attack, or if they have to on the upper side of the field, I feel like a good playmaker midfield probably. But my thing is,
to be fair though, that's Valverde. He's just having to play right back right now.
Yeah, but I feel like a combination of Modric and Kroos, because I don't think Modric next year is gonna be playing. You need someone.
I saw that he was. They were gonna allow him to leave on a free this summer. It's not completely official, but that's what it looked like.
I mean, that just makes sense. But like, I personally will let the kid Adagula play. Mo Salah,
I would agree with that too.
Because like he has it. He's skillful. He's young. He's youthful. He's been at the club for a long time. He's learned, seeing everything. When he plays for the national team, he's impactful.
Well, and you have three players now. You have Brahim Diaz, you have Arda and you have Endrick. That if you don't let them start playing a little bit more, they've all three been public about not bashing the club, but just saying, hey, I need more minutes or I'm gone. If they don't play that carefully, they could lose them all very quickly.
If I'm Arsenal, I'll probably try to see if I can plant a little seed and Chouameni or Camavinga, because Arsenal, both of those guys will work for Arsenal. It don't matter. Both of those guys. I feel like City might also go in the back and just plant low seeds.
You know, I can actually see City going for. So as an Arsenal supporter, I would rather see Chouameni than Camavinga because I'm looking at 1-for-1 replacements, and you know Chouameni plays much more like Thomas Partey than Camavinga does, and honestly, Declan Rice plays more of that mobile six that Camavinga will be playing. Yeah. Now I think that City could actually use Camavinga because they need somebody with more pace and athleticism in the midfield. They don't quite need a holding midfielder because that's Rodri. Now I don't know if Camavinga is as technically savvy on the ball for what they want to do. Yeah. But they look at him and they say we need energy in the midfield, and he would provide that.
I think he can. The thing is just that Madrid think about it, they actually haven't probably in the whole season or the past years they've been there, they actually haven't played their respective position. Yeah. So we don't know exactly. But when I see them in their respective position, the times they play, it's close to perfection.
It's unfortunate though, because I do believe that Camavinga is a very good player. Yeah, he hasn't really been able to show that a lot lately. Yeah, he's had a lot of mistakes in him lately, but they've been asking him to cover a lot of odd space and do things that he's not necessarily made to do. As has Valverde, although Valverde's filled his role better in terms of just like, I know that you're not supposed to be doing this thing, but like, can you please help us out? He's been performing better in that kind of role than Camavinga has, but that's not necessarily his fault.
That's why I think if Arteta was going for someone, if he had to pick, I feel like he would pick Camavinga instead.
Really?
Yeah, because if you think about Arteta, his team, most of the players at some point, unless you're like a pure of that position, like a left wing or right wing, he likes especially the midfield and the left backs. The left back, right back, whatever. He likes when they can do a lot more than just their position. That's why you have left wing going in, inverted left wing, left backs, inverted right backs. You have midfield at some point that it's up there, or like he doesn't have it. Especially if you look at Declan Rice, he doesn't have a traditional 6, a traditional 8. It's more of like we can do a lot more than just this. Now the wingers, I'm like, you guys don't move. That's what I want you guys to do. But someone like Mo Salah, one thing that's really clear is that if he gets 2 more seasons and play at this level, he might leave the Premier League as one of the top 5 players in the Premier League ever. When you look at statistically with all the other people, the Thierry Henry, the Thierry Henrys, he has 45 goal involvement this season, and he is close to beating the record if he gets it. So he needs 4 goals more and 3 assists. and that would be the record of the
Which is funny though,
season.
because like wasn't for a little while in this season, wasn't the consensus that it's like, well, he's not playing his best, and like, but somehow he's still at this point by the end of the season.
I wonder if he was the. I'm waiting for them to give me the contract. Before
You know what? And that's the thing. You know, when you're that talented, you can afford to do that. Most of these guys, you know, they have to work their absolute hardest. To, you know, like, what's the example or the expression? It's like, you know, they're a 7 every game in terms of like, it might not be a 10 out of 10 performance, but they don't deliver any 1 out of 10s. They're just constantly right. Like, they have to actively try to hit those marks. Whereas it does feel like some of these guys are so, Eden Hazard was one as well, so talented that like they can almost control when they when they give a 10 out of 10. It's not just like, oh, that happened and that's great. It's like, no, I'll give a 10 today.
I feel like these are the top 2%.
Yeah.
I don't want to say 1% because I feel like in sports generally, they are average players and they are good to best players and they're just phenomenal players where these are generational talent.
They're, like I said, like can truly almost like control when they give that world class performance.
If you put them in like the Messi's, these are not your normal players. These are just extra. These are aliens.
If they want to score, they're going to score. If they don't feel like scoring, they're not. And it can send a message, which is just so odd to see that.
Yeah. Onana had a bit of a low drama with Matic. If you know,
Matic, and Onana also had a bad performance as well. To be honest.
Not gonna say no.
I know you got to be unbiased here.
I'm unbiased. Onana doesn't play. He's great.
Yeah,
but he had a little bit of drama with Matic. If you know Matic, Matic is one of the OGs of United. You can say alumni. He played at United. Yeah. So I feel like Matic look at it as, dude, he plays De Gea, my guy. You know, he played with De Gea. He's looking at it in a way. He's like, this guy's was that my guy. And you guys let him play. So, but what did Onana say? I don't think he said something outrageous. He just said after the game they had about with City, he just said, quote unquote, not going to be easy, but I think we are way better than them. Just young. That's nothing. That's just competitive spirit. Yeah. You know, if you are playing for any team, are you gonna say, "Oh, they're gonna beat me"? You can't. Say that.
No. Well, you don't say that either. I agree with that. Like that's not what you say.
You know, and you didn't. It's like he attacked somebody
that
individually.
Is true, right.
He just said we are way better than them. Then Matic just responded like, "Hey, if you are one of the worst goalkeepers in the story of United, you better check yourself." So I feel like Matic took it up a notch. But also Matic is looking at it. I feel like in the back of his mind, although I'm playing for Lyon, I've played for United. You know, players like Ian Wright that played for Arsenal. Yeah. They might have played at the end of the career for Red Bulls or whatever, but their core is Arsenal.
Yeah, sure.
So Thierry Henry, he might have played for Barcelona, but his core, they never asked him just sometimes about Barcelona, but it's mostly about because that's where he built his legacy. Right. So, and that's the same thing for Matic. He's looking at it, although I'm playing for Lyon, I'm like, man, you know, when you play for a team for so long, it's like, how the guy suck.
I was gonna say that's the reason that he's
looking at it.
That's the reason that he said that too, because even though he is playing for an opposing side, everybody in the equation knows that he is more United than he is Lyon, and so he does feel a bit more. And neither one of them was completely wrong or right. Yeah. I don't like the. I'm a fair believer in if you're in bad form. And this is almost in any sport. This is also kind of in the arts as well. At least in terms of like music and film, more of the entertainment side. If you're not at your best right now, maybe don't even begin to like. You don't have to take the interview. You don't have to. And if I'm Onana, I'm not taking the interview right now. Yeah. And it's because like I don't want to have to say anything. Yeah, I'd rather let
something that can come and bite me.
Because a lot of it's a lot of the issue is your attacking and your defense. You're conceding a lot of goals and you're not scoring a lot of goals. So maybe your forwards and defenders and goalkeeper by proxy, maybe you're not the ones that are talking that much. Honestly, even though he's not always the best in interviews, just let Fernandez speak for the club.
Yeah,
just let him speak for the club. Like, you don't have to say anything.
But I kind of like the clashes because it kind of brings me, as long as there's no harmful physical, like no one is harming. I like it because it raises the fan. We're more interested. This is at the end of the day, this is entertainment. You gotta sell tickets.
You like it for that way, and I understand that. What I I'm kind of just looking at it from if I'm the player, if I'm him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, because like it's entertaining. I get that, and I like that too. Like I liked that the back and forth, but I wouldn't want the fans, if I'm him, to be enjoying that at my expense. That's the thing. I'll let somebody else do that, because I'll always have somebody else out there to take the piss
He
out
hit
of.
back though. He said, "Hey, at least I've lifted trophies with the greatest club in the world." Some can say the same because at least at United he lifted the FA Cup, and Matic his whole time at United didn't lift any trophy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
to think about how long you spend that. But my boy Onana got to chill out, because I feel
howlers,
like his
though,
place
man.
is in danger.
He had some bad work.
The ratio to goals conceded to goals saved, I mean, it doesn't even match. But they put the other keeper, and he tried to do what Onana did against, I think, Newcastle.
Yeah.
And he conceded, man. Not everybody can do the the pass-to-pass play. So either they're going to be shopping for a true goalkeeper, or Ruben Amorim can turn this whole thing around, because he might be catching some hate too, because he has been losing a lot of games since he came. Yeah. And we do understand that it's his first. He took the team mid-season. I don't really blame him. He's got to establish. I was going to say, he's got to bring his own players. So I don't think people should blame him.
At least he told us he was going to lose.
At least.
I mean, that's a smart thing. But he guys, this is going to be bad, just so you know. So that when it is bad, it's like, well, at least he did say so.
Well, at least he said, the one thing that we need to do is to make sure we don't get relegated. So.
And, right, yeah.
Mbappe, red card, 1 to 3 match ban. I think it's probably 2. Because he might be there for the final. That's what I read this morning. Yeah. So that was really, really bad. That was
horrible, dude. Horrible. That was horrendous.
Yeah. The next red card too on Vinicius. That guy said, "I saw what you guys were trying to do to my player. I'm gonna hit you guys back." Did you see that?
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I don't know if it was emotions running or just people play. I didn't watch exactly the scene. I just saw the picture, and that guy almost lost his career. This is a career-ending injuries. Like, you don't want that to happen to no one. So
Danny Ceballos, in an interview afterwards, like in the press conference, basically said that he didn't excuse Mbappe's behavior, which is nice, but he basically said that a lot of small challenges that were being uncalled during the game led to Mbappe doing that. So now, again, that doesn't make that okay. It's, give him a shoulder tackle, like a shoulder out. There are ways that you can sort of get back at him and say, hey, quit fucking around. Then doing that, that's unexcusable to me. What do you think about the people that are saying that because it did not lead to a serious injury, that the suspension shouldn't be as heavy? Do you because
I think he should get suspended.
Yeah,
I think he should get, but I don't think I don't know. I can't say do too much, because they got a final too. It depends, to be honest.
Yeah,
if he gets 2 or 3 games, it's okay.
Yeah, because
if you went through that and it happened to actually, the guy happened to be injured, that would have been
exactly.
He would have been out for a long time.
The fact that he was injured or not should not factor into the suspension. It should be what you did. Yeah. Yes, I 100% agree.
Should be judged, and there shouldn't be. It's because it wasn't hard or whatever. That by default is a red card and suspension.
Shaka Hislop disagrees with that. He said basically that because Blanco was his last name, wasn't hurt, that it should be kind of reevaluated.
This guy is he the Madrid fan?
No, he's not. He's not. But it's like, but that was an odd, because he's a former player, so that makes sense. That why would you say that? It should definitely not be, because.
No. I think 2 games is good, or 3 games. I don't think we should. Now I don't know what happened to the other player that did that on Vinicius.
Yeah.
I felt like, I don't know if
permanent
he was
ban.
kind of revenge.
Permanent ban. He's working the concession stands now. That's where he'll be on Saturday.
You never know, man. Real Madrid's president might be like, hey, you gotta ban that guy forever. On the other side, man, Arsenal, Brentford. If you didn't watch the game, man, you gotta go watch the game. If you don't care, don't care. But my boy was playing at Brentford. You know what it is? I forgot his name. The striker.
You forgot your boy?
Bemo.
Yeah.
Cameroonian. I love the guy, and also my boy Saka was playing today.
Mm.
I like Saka. Basically, I like all the black players. No pun intended, but that's how I support teams now. As I look at the team, I'll be like the NCAA.
Yeah.
Houston was playing against I think the Ghettos. It was a team from Florida. No, yeah, from Florida.
It's probably University of Florida or Florida State.
I think it's that.
Or the colors.
The Ghettos.
Yeah.
So I think a friend asked me why you supporting, I'm like, I don't know. I got no skin in the game. Then this player showed up, and he was playing for Houston, and basically the player, I think his name was something. A Nigerian, and came to find out, did some research. The guy was playing for. Actually, no, he was playing for Florida. Houston. My bad. Let me not get confused.
It's your story.
So basically, this guy went to the NBA Academy. Africa, I don't know if you knew that. There's NBA has an academy where they can.
I thought you were talking about American football. You're talking about basketball.
No, talking about basketball.
Okay.
NCAA final.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No football. Football is too far back.
Usually when somebody says NCAA, they mean
football.
So yeah.
Let me precise.
My mistake.
Basketball.
I got you.
So, and they asked me again. Like 2 minutes later, I was like, "Oh, I picked Houston." And they asked me why. I said, "Well, that's my boy." They said,
"That's my boy."
How long did you know him? Well, I just did research. He came to NBA Africa. What do you want me to do?
Hey man,
that's how I support. So, but Arsenal had a good game.
Yeah.
We won't say good in terms of it was crazy, but I think the rotation was expected because they're preparing for the second leg at Bernabeu.
You can tell that they've abandoned the chase for the Premier League. So yeah, I mean it was not an exciting game.
They should be hopeful the Champions League. As long as you're not out, you can always go down with a fight.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to give your best where you already know Liverpool is going to win that.
Yeah.
But what did you think about the game? I mean, it's pretty forward. I will do the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's nothing really to report about it. You still don't want to draw against someone like Brentford on the table when you're competing for that top slot. Even if you're not competing for the first place, if you're second place, you still are.
Yeah.
There's still some sort of honor in that, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, hold on to the.
Yeah.
If Liverpool lose 8 games straight, we're winning. It's like no, calm down about that. But like, there is something to be said about if you're in second place, you can't let somebody mid-table or lower than mid-table take points off of you. Like, there's still just an expectation of that. That said, they rotated the squad. They didn't drop 3 points. That's fine. But yes, you would still rather at this point in this shakedown of how the Champions League has come about.
Yeah,
it was the smarter decision, and I get it. I still just don't like seeing draws like that, even in that context.
Do you think Arsenal can win the Champions League? As a fan of Arsenal fan and as a person.
The answer.
So as a person with skin in the game and a person with no skin in the game.
The answer is the same for both. Because I really do try to look at it objectively. If you'd asked me this a month ago, no.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that and again, at the start of the season, who were the 3 big people in the contention? It was Liverpool, Real Madrid, Man City. So once this leg is over, but I'm not saying that Arsenal is the best remaining team. I do think at this point, once everybody does move on in the way that it looks, PSG is still probably the best performing. And they have them next.
I think Barcelona is the best performing. 4-0 Dortmund.
Yeah,
but all the teams they've been. I think I will put Barcelona and Liverpool the same, because at least Barcelona hasn't played a game where they were on the edge.
Yeah,
all the games is like I'm going in, I'm just beating these guys. Normal Tuesday for me, but all the other teams like there's so much bubbling around. There's tactic. Barcelona just that's what I think especially. But whatever you think, it's also valid.
Well, and it was they were they ripped up Dortmund 4-0. Obviously, Dortmund have had a habit of conceding a lot of goals, and Barcelona have had a habit of scoring a lot of goals. Dortmund not only have a habit of conceding a lot of goals, they have a habit of not scoring any goals. So it was a perfect matchup for Barcelona to be able to just tee off on them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Barcelona got an easy way out because they could have faced somebody else.
No.
And I still think that the result would have been the same against Aston Villa.
At the same time, I think Barcelona also had an easy route in a sense.
You do think that? Okay.
Yeah, because if you look at the teams they played during the course of the Champions League this season, it wasn't teams that they might have been hard. I'm not saying no, but it wasn't caliber of teams that we know in Champions League. We only know these are the teams. If you beat them, you're gonna win. If you beat your Bayern, you beat your cities. You go you know, because these are harder games and these are hard the hard punching team. But before we go to the Champions League, Liverpool, West Ham, Virgin van Dijk and Mo Salah, they showed why they needed they showed why the team basically extended the contract, because when you look at the game, you're like, oh man, this is why
they also showed why they need to replace Robertson sooner rather than later.
And
I mean that like, and I don't mean that like in a way of bashing, but like I mean like the few times that Van Dijk was caught out of position, and he were because he was covering that space. That's why I said that earlier of, Trent, you obviously need to replace Trent, but you need to be looking at a left back sooner rather than later as well.
Two players that probably not on the spotlight every time, that in my eyes make that team. Alisson, dude.
Yeah.
That goalkeeper, even against Paris Saint-Germain, you know how many shots he saves?
Oh, yeah.
And McAllister, he's just, dude, is crazy. And I think these are the two that, man, their performance sometimes go underrated. Like, we don't really see it. It just flies under the radar sometimes.
I think because McAllister's he's not as flashy.
That's probably why.
I think for like how the modern game is played, for a midfielder to get most of their due, they have to be threading crazy passes and all this intricate hold up of play, whereas he's very I'm not saying he's not skilled.
No, he's more of a simple guy.
Yes, he's like, what do you need done? I'm gonna do the quickest thing possible to get that thing done for you, and that's
we're not gonna be doing all this thing. We were talking about Champions League, just a little recap. This is the second leg. After this leg, who is going to the semi-final, and it's to be expected. Now we talk about the two sides before the show ends: Bayern Munich, Inter, Arsenal, Madrid. So interesting enough, I think Inter is the most underrated team in a sense.
Yes.
The reason is because no one talks about it. When you look in the press, you look at podcasters like the football or soccer one, but they have considered less in the whole course of the Champions League.
We talked about this last week. The reason that that the media doesn't talk about Inter as much, I think, is because they don't play in an overly flashy style, and they don't have a single player, and I mean this respectfully, that's like an absolute superstar. They don't have that guy that makes the headlines. The closest that they probably have is what, Marcus Thuram?
Yeah.
In terms of just that this is the guy that you're going to see on ESPN go and look at that. Like,
I feel like also because of the dad in a sense.
Yeah. But then you have Bastoni is very underrated at the back. Lautaro Martinez, Çalhanoğlu. I think Çalhanoğlu is the best example of a great player that just doesn't get the headlines.
I feel like if a team snatch him up, they will, like this, while one of the cities and whatever, they will use.
You want Çalhanoğlu?
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. It's one of those guys that you think about the Modric, where he was at Tottenham, and when he went to Madrid, it just went from 0 to 100 exponential.
But they need to hurry up though, because he's what? I'm gonna double check his age. But he's not the youngest guy in the world right now. He's 31. So he might be in. I mean, but don't get me wrong, and that's what makes it so upsetting is that he's 31. He's playing at a massive club. And that's the issue, is that of the big, because they still are one of the very biggest in terms of popularity, but they're for some reason dropping lower and lower amongst those top popular sides because they're choosing to win games rather than entertain you.
I think Italy has to. I don't know exactly the problem of the league. It's something we can dive into during the summer and try to find something, or do our own research. But I think one thing that they should do is raise their social interaction with the fan, or create some kind of, I don't like to say drama, but they have to make it in such a way it's entertaining, because it feels more of like the old world where people are like, I don't know, man. I don't want to care about those guys. Man. We got a lot in Premier League.
I like Serie A. I
Yeah.
like the fact that it has that sort of old school
You think
feel
you like
to it.
that?
I personally do.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's over the last 5 or 6 years or so, it's been a 2-horse race.
Yeah.
It's been Napoli and Inter, and like I said, it doesn't do much for your popularity when your top side is not the most entertaining.
That's another thing.
And but again, to me, that shouldn't matter because yes, I understand entertainment and its entertainment value, but the reason that we're entertained is because the sport is not fixed. For this to be, the most popular side is the most entertaining side. I mean, the only way that you can ensure that is if you rig games. Now, Serie A,
yeah, they're good at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's one to do it, that's them. But
Juventus, they gotta bring back Juventus will do that.
So no, but because Juventus is not where they used to be, where AC Milan is not where they used to be, where Roma, although they're not in that same category, they need to be up there. But seriously, really fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's not WWE, you can't rig who's gonna win.
Yeah.
If the side that wins is the one that's boring because they're conservative but they get the fucking job done, and you don't like that, that's not their fault. They're taking home titles.
I feel like they also have to create a star or a superstar that people will talk about. The reason why, at some point when we come to watch the Madrid, although yes, it's football, the Madrid, the Barcelona, the cities, yes, we come watch football. But at the same time, people will come watch the players. That's why sometimes when your star leave a team and goes to another team, it's like he goes with some of the fans because some of the fans are not really there for the team.
You know who that was?
Me.
No, the player.
Oh yeah,
Victor Osimhen.
But yeah, that's true. That's true.
But if he now, don't get me wrong, and Serie A fans
because
hate
he made a lot of talking point when he was there. That's true.
That Napoli side that won the league for the first time in 25 years, they got picked apart as opposed to those players going to other bigger, with all due respect to Napoli, bigger sides within the domestic league. Yeah. They departed and they went. So now, even though Napoli is in second place, and still within the title race, your two big money makers on that side, they're gone.
Yeah. Arsenal, Madrid, another thing. So for me, I told you guys, I'm a bandwagoner. I'm the kind of guy you can't count on me if you're going to the battle. If I know we lose, I ain't with you anymore. But but the one thing is, I would say this: I'm not upset that Madrid. If Madrid don't go, it's not upsetting because you've been winning this thing for so long. You gotta let other people win too. But if I'm Arsenal, I'm going to Bernabeu. There's 30% of chance. This according to my own stat. I don't care what the TV says.
Okay.
But for me, it's 30% chance that Madrid will win. We win the game, and 70% chance for Arsenal. But on the flip side, I would say this: it's gonna be hard for Arsenal to beat Madrid at Bernabeu without Madrid putting up a fight.
Yeah, sure.
And it's gonna. Another thing is, if Arsenal wants to win, if they go to Bernabeu, and they will, not if they will. They shouldn't play extra conservative. Shouldn't play extra defensive.
Yes.
Because if you play extra defensive, knowing Madrid will put up a fight, and they have the attacking weapon to keep hitting from everywhere. Yeah. If you go and play extra defensive, you will be in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah. You need to take advantage of the fact that their forwards do not track back for defense at all in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. So whether or not you're deciding to just be absolute maniacs and tee off inside the box, I'm not saying that either, but you need to apply pressure. You need to dictate the midfield. You need to keep it on their third without necessarily needing to dominate the attack. You just need to suppress and hold them back because Rodrigo, Vinny Jr. and Mbappe, they're not going to track back and help press at all.
The scary thing is they probably will be because Ancelotti, this game is on the line. So lately been reported if he don't win this game, he's gonna be fired.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm thinking they will go and put a fight for everyone.
Yeah, because it's not so much the fact that they're losing in the Champions League earlier than they want. You got to look at how they're losing. Yeah. And how they're losing is not only just the amount of injuries, but some of the tactics being applied, some of the formations that he's using, some of the the repositioning of players, and the fact that for whatever fucking reason, you can't tell me that he has not told his forwards to track back. He's told them. They're just not listening, and that's their fault, not his fault. But that doesn't mean that he's not on the chopping block.
I feel like I told you this before. He's more of like old school. I don't think he's too tactical. That's probably why I think Madrid needs a new coach. They're probably gonna bring in Xabi Alonso just because at this point they have the weapon. They just don't have. It's like he said, and he said in an interview last summer in the podcast. He said it's not crazy with him. It's like sometimes he just let them go play. Even Bellingham said last year that he told us like this game is hard. Bellingham, and he said to Bellingham, go score.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And you could see that with Bellingham as well. You could tell that it was just him kind of flying and being free
that guy
and it working. But that also, like, on the flip side of that, you need to appreciate when a coach gives you that freedom. You need to also appreciate when they ask you to do simple fucking tasks, which he's not telling you, like, he's not micromanaging you like Pep. He's saying, hey, when we don't have the ball, play some fucking defense.
Yeah.
That's all he's saying to you.
Yeah, and I think he will be out for that because it's been an issue for a long time, even though he was winning.
Yeah.
But now I think, but there's two things that I would say for this game. If Arsenal go there, they have to score one. You score one, you're going to demoralize Madrid. It's going to play in the mental. They might not play as well as they thought they had prepared the game. But if Madrid goes there, this is what is going to happen if Madrid wants to have a chance of a comeback. Either you're creating history in a positive way or creating history in a negative way for yourself. So the first 15 minutes, Madrid has got to make a statement. If you can't make a statement in the first 15 minutes, if I'm Arsenal, I just have to score one and just put your whole hopes in shambles.
Yeah, and I mean that means that if they're going to hit that hard that early for the first 15 or 20 minutes, Modric can't start.
No.
And your forwards have to track back.
Yes.
You have to close down the outside of the midfield at least. We're not asking to track all the way fucking back, guys, but you should not be letting Odegaard make any advancement.
Yeah.
Saka needs to be put on a leash. Like, these are things that have to happen. So, have to happen. There is no excuse.
Barcelona bullshit. Don't want. I'm just interested to see how many goals are going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
To be honest, I don't think.
But if 4-0 away from home, I actually don't expect them to hit 4 more.
I don't expect.
They're going to sit back a little
conservative.
Yes,
a little bit,
I do agree with that.
But the way you seen Barcelona play, Barcelona plays how you would think people that are good at something but don't care too much.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like they've gone up to. They have chemistry.
Yeah,
they all know each other. I've seen the game. It doesn't even look like they're trying hard.
Yeah.
Just like, we can just do this all day. So it's gonna be tough. But I think though, with the way they're playing, the offside trap they set, I feel like I want to see them playing against Paris Saint-Germain because I believe this is the best Paris Saint-Germain since Paris Saint-Germain started their project Champions League.
I do agree with that.
And I think, and it wasn't on my radar till this last couple of games, man. These guys are fast. Dude, that Doué guy, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
He had a really good,
he had a really good. Kvaratskhelia, this is the guy.
Dude, he's awesome. I love him. He is great. Big fan of his since Napoli, since he came up at Napoli for sure.
You see how Vitinha basically has all this time. He's still young, probably 21, 22, 23.
They all are. And they're all like 22.
Yeah, and he's playing now like a freaking Xavi or something.
Yeah.
He's playing with so much experience. He doesn't waste ball. He looks at like it's and Hakimi. Dude is fast.
Yes. I was going to say Vitinha as well. It's like he can hold a play and he can thread the ball, but he can also put his shoulder down and get past you as well. He's deceptively quick. He's so tiny.
Even that Nunes guy. The defender. I think, So they got.
He might be leaving soon. Actually,
I think
Real Madrid were looking at him.
I feel
But you could tell as soon as he kind of got there. He's young. He's incredibly pacey. He's taller. He's got a good frame. That's got a good fullback written all over him.
That's true.
Yeah.
So in that side, I'm really interested to see Paris Barcelona, but that's about it. We're gonna see what happens this leg. Either, like I said, history is gonna be created, and there's gonna be a good Champions League game.
Yeah.
Well, I won't stress this enough. Go and subscribe.
Stress it, dude. Get stressed out.
And get us everywhere you can. Spotify, YouTube, TikTok.
Tiki-Talk.
Subscribe and
Tiki-Taka.
turn on your bell notification. See you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye.